Right, welcome everybody, and thank you, Nick, for joining us this morning. The format of the morning will be that Nick will give us a quick presentation where there'll be plenty of opportunities for you guys to ask questions. We'd like this to be an interactive session, so for you to get as much out of it as possible, you can ask him as many questions. So yeah, don't be shy with the questions for Nick. I think you're quite keen on that, aren't you, Nick?
I'm good with that, so yep.
Excellent. So Nick is a Kiwi that's currently living in Western Australia, isn't it, Nick?
No, Queensland.
Queensland. Oh, sorry.
By the beaches.
Oh, fabulous. Fantastic. And he spent quite a bit of his younger days hanging out in the northern suburbs, so you know Tawa quite well. Nick's the founder of Smash and Go and is a digital transformation coach and consultant, and he likes to help businesses embrace the online world. He hosts a weekly webinar series called Business Owners Smashing It Online. So he might tell us a little bit more about that later. So I'm going to hand it over to Nick. Please remember, if you want to ask questions, either stick your hand up or virtual hand up, or we're happy to take questions in the chat as well. So over to you, Nick. Thanks.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for having me along. It's good to be back in good old Wellington again. It's been a while since I've been able to get over there and come back again. I used to have a business in Lower Hutt. In fact, a finance and mortgage broking business for about 10 years. I lived in Johnsonville, and I had a number of properties in around Johnsonville, Tawa, and Cannons Creek back then. And around Tatahi Bay. I wish I kept those ones in Tatahi Bay because I think they're all $1 million properties now. So yeah, so it's good to be back here. I do live in Queensland now. I run a company called Smash Go, as Bernadette said, and what I do with what I do with people is to help them with that digital transformation, which is really how do you embrace the online apps, tools, and strategies to get your business doing a couple of things, working more efficiently and more effectively with some of the online tools and apps that are now available, so that you can work less time and be more productive and achieve more. So I'm in the online space. That's where I live. I'm digital, and I think in current times it probably is one of those things that may have been on our priority list, is to do a lot more online, and it's just risen quite a bit higher onto people's priority lists. So so I thought probably what I'd talk to you about today is really some of the digital side of things and marketing side of things to help you in business. Does that sound okay? Yep, some nods. Excellent. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example, I think, of what's possible and what happens. What's the situation in New Zealand at the moment? Is it still fairly locked down, or have you come out of all of that now?
We're out of the lockdown, but COVID has been sweeping through, and it's certainly swept through Tawa in the last couple of weeks. So a lot of businesses have had reduced hours or have had to close while they've been isolating. The isolation,
okay, yeah.
But we're kind of coming out of the worst of it. I think numbers are reducing, but there's
that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. So if your experience is anything like we've had over here as well, is that we had mass business closures, have to work from home, and having to do some things quite differently. And in fact, the environment globally has changed significantly in terms of how businesses interact with each other and how consumers and business interact with each other. So whereas previously I remember talking to a finance broker, like an insurance broker, general insurance broker, and he was saying there's no way that I could do anything on Zoom. I need to be in touch with clients. I need to physically visit their premises and see what they do and get a feel for the context before I write a policy. Today, he doesn't do anything now unless it's on Zoom. So he's worked out that, in fact, the fact that he's been forced to go on to something like Zoom there to do what he would do in person is really just the way he's done something. Now, the benefit for that for him is he can actually see more people. He's more productive during the day, and he gets more free time during the day as well too. So there is no driving back and forth to people's premises, which wastes about probably in the order of half to 3/4 of the time that he would spend in a working day. So now, even if he just made one more appointment and did it on Zoom, he's more productive, he's making more money, and he's more effective. So there are some upsides to what's happened. I'll tell you a story about someone who had a yoga studio, just to give you some concept of what's available. Now, when I'm talking about this story here, I want you to think about your own business and where it might translate into your own business in terms of some different things and different ways that you might operate. So yoga studios, generally their catchment is around about 5 kilometers from where their studio is. So people will travel about 5 kilometers to come in. So that really is a catchment base for her clients. As soon as businesses went into lockdown, then she could no longer see people in her yoga studio. She rang me. She said, "What am I going to do? How do I operate my business? I obviously can't close forever. I need to sort of be generating income in the business. What do I do?" And my immediate response was, "Take it online and onto Zoom." Her response was, "I couldn't possibly do that. No one is going to turn up to a screen, a computer screen, and do their yoga. They all want to come into the studio where I can demonstrate it, and they're in here with me. So it's part of the experience." So I said to her, "Well, let's just try it. If no one turns up on Zoom, then what have you lost?" "Well, nothing. Nothing. You're in the same position. If you do get people that turn up, then just run your class as normal." And so she did it, set up the Zoom, and people turned up. So she saw people on the screens. So she did her yoga in front of her laptop, which was just placed on the floor in front of her. It's nothing fancy at all. It was just her laptop, and she did her yoga. She felt incredibly weird about it. But she went through the class and did it, and people paid for the class. So that there just really broke the ice to say that that was really quite possible. So then she started to schedule in her normal set of classes. So she would do, it was at least a class a day or 2 classes a day. She scheduled them in. She had a staff member as well who was running yoga classes also, and so the biggest thing was just communicating with her existing clients and customers to let them know that yoga is still happening. It's just happening online as opposed to in person. So and so what she found was that not only did most of her regular clients still turn up, because remember, they're locked at home as well too. They want to carry on with their lives as much as possible. So the impact was not just on the business; it was on their her customers, and so they turned up. But what's more, she had a whole tribe of people from Italy turn up to her little yoga class in Miami, in the Gold Coast, in Australia. So how did that happen? And really, what it was that one of her yoga teachers was Italian. So he spoke Italian, and he would sometimes burst into Italian while he was doing yoga. So somewhere in Italy, someone sort of heard about it, might have been a friend, a relative, whatever, and so they had a cohort of people. So they eventually ended up with an Italian class of yoga that they were running. So they were running classes in Italian, and they were running classes in English, and so that would never have happened. If she wasn't forced into that situation. So as it ended up, she was making more money running her yoga online than she was at her little yoga studio. So financially, it was a lot better off. Time-wise, she was a lot better off because she didn't have to travel to her studio. She was actually just doing it from home in her lounge room. None of the clients and customers had to travel, so they were saving time as well. And one of the good things about Zoom was that that Zoom records the sessions. So, and it was just automatically set up to record. So she ended up with all of these recordings of her yoga sessions. So, so what we did with that was to say, well, look, how many people turn up to, don't turn up to yoga because the time doesn't suit them? And she said, yeah, there was a number of people that apologized, they can't turn up, something's happened, time doesn't suit. So, so the next thing we did was say, well, how about we put your yoga classes online in a membership area, and people can pay a monthly subscription to access yoga on demand, so they can come and do it whenever they like. You've already done the work, you've recorded the classes. You know, does your yoga change from time to time? No, it's the same moves, the same poses, and you know, the same things she does. So she's got a number of programs, but they're all sort of end up as, you know, classes in their own right. So she put those on, and now she's got a subscription membership program where people pay a monthly subscription to access yoga, and they can do it whenever they like. So they don't have to wait till the class is actually scheduled. They can do it at midnight if they want, or they can do it at 5 o'clock in the morning if they like. So now the customer is in charge of when they are interacting and when they are purchasing their yoga class, rather than the instructor or the business owner being in charge. So, and so it's made it more convenient. Interesting thing is that the numbers in a yoga class haven't dropped off. So people are still turning up to her regular yoga class. They're not all the same people, but she's also now got another revenue source, which is this membership area where people are accessing the yoga just on membership. And some of them she never sees. They just put it onto their phone or onto their TV. She never sees them, and they're doing yoga on demand. So so what happened was that accidentally she's created another revenue stream. And accidentally, she's freed up her time as well, because she's earning enough revenue now off the membership site that replaces her revenue that she was having in physical yoga classes. So she actually doesn't have to run the physical ones now. She could just run the online business now and not have to turn up to it. So so she's really sort of created a business, an online business, by accident, because she was forced into it, just by by using this technology called Zoom. If we asked her prior to this whether she would consider an online yoga class, her answer was no. If we asked her about whether she'd consider putting together a membership site and recording what she was doing, her answer was no. So, so really, the situation just put her into a situation where she has to keep earning revenue in order to support her lifestyle, and so it was an accidental way of getting online. But now, do you think she'd ever go back? Not a chance. She's got something that is working really well for her, and she said, "I wish I'd done this years ago." So, but she wasn't in the place for it, and the situation wasn't quite right for it. So, so there's a number of factors that really helped in that situation. In that, the first thing was that she was able to communicate with her existing clients. So she had a database of people to communicate with. So, so a database is your most important asset in your business. So known these days as a CRM. Which is a customer relationship management tool. Anyone got a CRM, or anyone use a CRM? Just a show of hands. Yep. Okay. If you don't, if there's one thing that I'd encourage you to do from today, is to go and invest in a CRM, because that is your lifeblood in your business, particularly when things go wrong and when there is disruption. And we've had lots of disruption over the past couple of years or so. So, and really what a CRM is it enables you to collect people's name and particularly email address and sometimes phone number and have it in a database. And the reason why that's important is that when you want to communicate, you've got a way of communicating with people at the same time and send out a message to people at the same time. Give an example of how good that is. When I ran my finance company, this was the most successful time that I did it. I was running a series of property seminars as well. But the gauge as to how busy we were or not was how much the phone rang. If the phone was constantly ringing, then our marketing was working and we had a constant pipeline of business coming through. As soon as the phone started to go quiet, that was my signal to think, hang on a tick, our marketing's drying up. We're getting to the end of our lead and sales cycle and delivery cycle. We need to actually start doing something. There is one thing that I used to do that every time I did it guaranteed around about $20,000 to $30,000 worth of business every time that I did it, and it was just so simple that it was insane. And I did it as an experiment to start with, and then it was a thing that I used to do regularly. Didn't do it all the time, but just did it at the times that we got quiet. And it was because I had a CRM. So I had... I think I probably had, there's about 5,000 or 6,000 people in our customer relationship database. So they were customers, they were people that were prospects, people that I'd come across, people that I've met at networking events. There's a whole range of people. They just ended up in our CRM. But that one email, one thing that I did was an email that I sent out to people that would generate that $20,000 to $30,000. Anyone want to know what that email said? It was only one line. So it was, and it was really simple. It was not a sales email. It was an email that just basically said, if it was, I had mail merge in it, so I'd put people's first names in. So it'd be, hi, for instance, hi, Michael. Hey, wondering how things are. Haven't heard from you for a while. Just checking in. Regards, Nick. Now, how do you think that generated $20,000 to $30,000 worth of business for me? So drop into chat why you think, or open up your mic and ask me and let me know why you think that generated that sort of business for me. Any ideas?
Asking a leading question.
Asking a leading question. Yep, absolutely. So I did invite a response because I'm asking, how are you? Yep. Yep. Why else?
Showing interpersonal connection.
Yep. Connection. Yep. Perfect. Yep.
Jennifer,
was that you?
Showing people that you remember them and care.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, it was that too. Yep. So really what it was what would happen was it was really just a touching base with people. It was a non-sales touching base. It was like, hey, how are things going? Haven't heard from you for a while. And there were a number of people would just reply back and say, look, life's good, life's great. Mother's died. Kids are going to school, whatever it is, sort of thing. So a heap of those sort of responses. And then there were some responses from people that said, hey, look, it's funny you just emailed me. I was just thinking about you. We're just in the process of doing something around here, and we're about to give you a call, or thinking about giving you a call because we want to at that point get some refinance, that sort of thing there. So they were already in the process of doing something, and so this was just a prompt to take it a bit further. And then there are other people there that said, look, I was just talking about you to my neighbor, colleague, friend, and they mentioned that they were looking for the sort of services that you do. Would you mind if I gave them your details or refer them on, or can you give them a ring? And so out of that there was, without fail, $20,000 to $30,000 worth of business that was generated from a non-sales email. So, and so that really sort of just brings me to the point that your marketing does not need to be sales oriented. It needs to be something where you are communicating and connecting with people. and in such a way that people want to communicate and connect back to you. So if people have got a need and they want something, then it will result in business, but it's more about that human connection. And that's what's needed more than ever these days when people are working from home, they're working shorter hours, they've got probably kids hanging around longer than they should be at home as well too, and so there is that sort of sense of isolation, change, and sort of lack of control as well. So just reaching out to people is incredibly powerful in terms of growing your business. You don't want it to come across that the reason why you're reaching out is to grow your business and to make sales, but it is a genuine sort of reaching out to people, just checking in, how are you going? So I'm part of a networking group on which I run here, called BX. I think that's in Wellington as well too. If you find BX, go and have a look at that there. Their philosophy there is, and the reason why I like it and run one of the chapters over here is that for all of the members, we ring all of the members in the networking group. Just again, same thing, just a touch base. How are things going? Anything I can help you with? That's it. A lot of networking groups will ring their members and they'll say, look, I haven't seen you for a while. You're coming to the next meeting. So if people get those calls on a regular basis, what do you think they do when the phone rings? I don't know what they do sort of in your end of town, but over here, they do this thing called ghosting. They just don't pick up the phone. They go, oh, that's right, I should be at this. I'm meant to go. I just haven't been there. I'm not even going to pick up the call and have the conversation. I'm embarrassed that I've committed to it and I haven't been there. So, so if you don't have those conversations, and, think about it in your business as well, too. When have you rung up clients and customers that, or prospects even, and it's all been about, hey, you mentioned you're going to buy something, when are we getting together, that sort of thing there. And you find that they start to ghost you and they don't pick up the phone. So, so if you never have those conversations and you're always having conversations of things like, how are you? Anything I can do to help you? So what's happening today? Quite different conversations, and it puts the onus on the person you're calling, so they're in control of the conversation rather than you being in control of the conversation. And that's really the key thing with customer journeys these days, is the fact that the other side, your customers, are the ones that feel like they're in control rather than you being in control and pushing the what it is that you do. Not that any of you are pushing at all, but sometimes that's just how it's perceived when you call through. Does that make sense? Yep, great, excellent. All right, so so business is a set of systems, which is really weird for me to say because I'm not really good at these sort of systems sort of thing. I'm more of a creative person, but we have systems there, and I have systems in my business to make sure that we get things done. One of the most important systems, that one of those ones that I talked about was the CRM, which is a customer relationship management system that allows you to email and communicate with people. The other system is lead generation. So how many people here have got some form of a systematic process for lead generation here? How many people would say maybe just throw an ad in the paper when they need to get some, or throw an ad on Google Ads or something like that to get something happening? Or who just works on referral and word of mouth? Okay, yep, sweet. Okay, great. So lead generation is one of those really important things. It's probably, it would be one of those things that people come and speak to me most about, or if they're calling me about getting help in their business, it's about generating leads. Leads have dried up. They're not getting as much work in business as they were as they would like, and they're needing help with lead generation. So the typical marketer's response to lead generation is, let's run some ads. So paying Google ads or Facebook ads, let's run some ads. And while that works to a limited extent, it's very short-term thing. You should never have to run ads to have enough leads coming in your pipeline, once you've got a system running. So your lead generation is part of your system and process, and sometimes it's not what you think. It's not running ads. So my lead generation, as Bernadette spoke about, the fact that I run a weekly webinar called Business Owners Smashing It Online. It happens every Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock. That's a lead generation exercise in the sense that what I bring onto that is a guest speaker. So I have a guest speaker, on a particular topic in business and in the online aspect of business. Could be a strategy, could be a tool, could be talking about social media, could be talking about website, but something about business and something about online business. And we don't sell anything on that webinar. It's free, and it's just pure information. So there's no sales. The reason why we do that is that, and how it generates leads is that, one, I get to find out, what people are really interested in. So what, and, we'll have anywhere between 20 through to 60 people turn up to that webinar on any given night, depending on what the topic is. If we get 60 people turning up, we know that that's a real hotspot and a problem that people want to solve. So for us, that helps us to guide the sorts of programs and help that people need. And then the second thing is that get to introduce people to guest experts. So the great thing about that for me is that I don't have to prepare every Tuesday night. So I've got using other people's knowledge to prepare. So think about other people that are in your sort of industry that you could collaborate with, and other businesses you could collaborate with and work with, that work with the same clients that you do, that you could introduce them in some sort of way. So there's no reason why you couldn't run, for instance, a webinar series, an online sort of meetup series. So meetups are a big thing. We're certainly over here, and gather your customers together and give them something of value. And particularly in the area that you're talking about. So what are we looking at here? We've got what, builders, an accountant. I can't see everyone else's occupation now. It looks like a swimming coach as well too. All of you have the possibilities of running some form of online webinar to prospective clients, people that are interested in what you do. So all industries will do that. And the reason why I know that is I am no builder. I had chickens, and our chickens would get out into our neighbour's yard. I had to build a fence. So I was either sort of fork out the 10 grand to go and, sort of get a fence built, or as I did, I was driving down the road, someone had left a whole lot of old fencing out on the side of the road. I thought, right, that's me. I'll pick that up. I went and borrowed a mate's ute. I went and picked up the fencing wire, took it home, and then thought, well, now what? And so my go-to there was, I'm thinking, I need to work out how to build a fence, like, put the posts in, how to do it all properly so that we keep these damn chickens in. And so my go-to place was Bunnings. So, which I think is sort of similar to Mitre 10 Mega in New Zealand. And but it wasn't actually the store, it was their website. And on their website, they had a whole lot of tutorial videos on how to put up a fence. And so I had and this is what people have got these days, I had my iPhone out with me, out in my backyard with sort of hammers, sort of digging implements, posts, fence and whatever, and I'm watching how do you put in a fence post. I thought that was relatively easy. I'm thinking, thank goodness I watched this video, because I would have done this all wrong and the fence would have fallen down. So, but Bunnings have created this resource of a how-to resource of materials which they have up on their website. So the good thing about it is, from their perspective, is when I want to go and buy all the equipment and put together my list of equipment, where do I get the list? They've already given it to me in their videos. Where do I go and buy it? I go to Bunnings, because they're the place that I know has got all of this stuff, and I know this works. It was in the video, so I'm going to use what was in the video. So And so that's why your webinars or even creating videos, I like webinars because you can use those videos later on. You don't have to polish it up and make it look professional or anything like that. People just want the information because remember, they're not in a professional setting. They're outside in their backyard with their iPhone. So so that's the quality of the video that you need to have. Most important thing is having good sound. If you've got good sound, then they can hear it. But what happens when you do that is that you become the perceived expert in your field, and you'll be sought out because people will know that this is the person that does the videos. So one of our clients is a town planner up in Brisbane, and she's a young woman. And when I say young, in her 20s, she might be in her 30s now, but when she started, she was in her 20s. For those of you who don't know what town planning industry is like, it's full of old, crusty old men. So they all think they know it all. They've got grey hairs to prove it, and they're incredibly they may not mean to be arrogant or whatever, but they come across that way, particularly for a young woman that walks in there in her 20s into a town planning meeting full of sort of 50s and 60s grey-haired blokes there who think, oh, who's this young woman here? Oh, good, we've got some women into in town planning, and then they go and talk to themselves and just promptly go and ignore her. What does she know? She hasn't been in the industry for a while. She got herself, within 12 months, she got herself into guest expert status, where she was sought out by these elderly gentlemen to talk to. Want to know how she did that? It was really simple. All she did was, she used to get lots of emails from her clients, from architects, from people looking for advice. And what's a normal way of answering an email? We sit down and we type out a response and send it off. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you say the same things over and over again in emails? There are some apps to help with that. I think Typedesk is an app that'll help, and you can just have your canned responses and just click a button and it'll go into your email, so you don't have to type it out again. But what she ended up doing, she sort of set up her iPhone in the corner of her office on a tripod. When she got asked the questions by email, she would then record a quick video, which is the answer to the email that was sent in. What she would do with that is that, and she had a system set up where it just automatically went to it, was saved into a folder. She had a virtual assistant who used to come and take it out, upload it to YouTube, and then grab that link and reply to the email with a link to say, look, I've just recorded a short video on, to reply to your email. I thought it'd be easier than sort of trying to type out a long response. Let me know if you've got any questions, and then would send that off. So, and her virtual assistant used to do everything from after she'd recorded the video. So she just did the video. Her virtual assistant, did everything else. And her virtual assistant is in the Philippines. And so what happened was that on her YouTube channel, she started to develop quite a bank of videos there, answering all the questions that people had about, sort of town planning. And whenever anyone asked the same question in an email, her virtual assistant would go and grab that same link in the on YouTube, paste in the email, and send a reply to the person emailing. So it made her a lot more effective and efficient. She had more time to do what she was really supposed to be doing, which was her work, rather than answering emails. And what happened was that she remembered quite distinctly walking into it was a conference or a meeting with all of these town planning people, which they had on a semi-regular basis. And as soon as she walked in the door, these old gentlemen who would ignore her when they first met her walked up to her and shook her hand and said, "Oh, look, I've just seen your videos on YouTube. It's great." And then all of a sudden, she's the expert in the room. She's still in her 20s. She's still a woman. None of that's changed at all. She hasn't got any grey hair. But she's just put herself into expert status by simply doing something which was quite unexpected. While she recorded the videos, it had that unintended and unexpected outcome. So the moral of that story is that if you can do something to be highly visible, then you'll become the sought out expert in your field. And so having a YouTube channel and recording sort of, commonly asked questions and having it on a YouTube channel positions you as an expert. Have you ever seen in the days that we could have conferences where someone stepped up on stage, is there anyone that's stepped up on stage and you've thought, oh, what are they there for? They don't know what they're talking about. I mean, that just never happens. It's like, by virtue of stepping on the stage, you are automatically positioned as the expert even before you open your mouth. Otherwise, how would you get a shot at being on a stage to speak? Or why would anyone invite you if you weren't an expert? So people automatically think you're an expert if you're on stage. It's the same with YouTube. If you have YouTube videos up there in a channel with YouTube videos, it's like stepping up on stage. People automatically think that you are the expert. So, and with those videos, you can do the Bunnings thing. You can grab those videos and embed them in your website. So you can have a tutorial series or whatever in your website. So when people go to your website, there are how-to or what-to videos on your website. And the great thing about it too is that when you do that, if these are things that people are hunting for and searching for, it will help with your search engine ranking as well. So if you are answering questions that people are asking in the search engine, then it will help you, and you're providing the answer in the form of video. You need to put some text in there as well too. You'll quickly get yourself up into a pretty good position in the search on search engines for two reasons. One, on YouTube. So you'll often see YouTube videos put up in on page one of search, because not many people make videos. So if you're the one that's made it and none of your competitors have, you've got a good shot at being on page one of search. The other thing too is your website. Again, if you're answering questions directly, that's also got a shot of getting on page one of Google. So you actually get two shots at it when you've got a YouTube channel and YouTube video and you embed it on your website. And if it's not YouTube, the other place that I would suggest would be a really good place to go live and to get known is on Facebook. That's doing Facebook Live videos. So if you think you've got a face for radio, that's perfect, because there's lots of people on YouTube that have on Facebook that have got faces like that do some pretty awful and shocking videos. So and I guarantee you can't be as bad as some of the ones that I've seen. And the other thing with it too is that if you think that you're nervous or you couldn't do it, or that people will never listen to you, well, you're right. If what you're saying is not interesting, then people are just going to scroll past it. So, and they're not even going to remember you. They're going to forget you. It's not as if people sort of remember weeks later that awful video you did. It's just not in their consciousness. They're on to the next cat meme or whatever on Facebook. But what it can do is it can propel you to expert status, because people keep seeing you at regularly on this channel. So you might think accountant. Everyone thinks accountants are boring. Why? So why would you listen to an accountant on Facebook? Yet people do. I've got a good friend of mine who's an accountant in Brisbane, very lively guy, and he does. Facebook. He runs Facebook videos. He did that regularly, and he runs a regular meetup as well. So a monthly meetup where he invites people to come along and learn about something to do, in the accounting field. And you know what? He sells them out. So he's always got a room of 30 to 40 people at his meetup, and they're really interested in what he says. So don't sort of think that no one will come along. They will. There are people that are interested in what you do and what you have to offer. So visibility is your absolute key to it all. And the more visible you can become, the easier it is with your marketing. And the more known you become, and you'll actually get business through as a side effect of doing that. Now, your marketing needs to be something that you have a strategy and a plan about. So for instance, I go live on Facebook every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. So without fail, I'm there, sometimes a wee bit late, sometimes it's around about 11, but in that 10 to 11 slot, I'm live on Facebook. Happens without fail every single week. And so those sort of activities are things that you plan. It becomes part of your business process, and it doesn't get put aside because you get busy or a client rings and you're doing something else. It is an essential part of your business. And so what will happen then is that rather than getting to the position where you think, oh, look, we haven't got a lot of business coming in, we need to go and do some marketing, contacting a marketing agency to go and run you some ads that may or may not work, but just cost you a truckload of money. You've got a system there that consistently starts to generate leads and inquiries because you are a guest expert. So if you have a CRM to be able to communicate with people, if you're doing things like live videos, YouTube videos, whatever, and running events like a meetup which you record as a video, and meetups can be just like this on Zoom. So it can either be physically or in person or on Zoom. And if you do some research into the sorts of topics that people are already interested in your field, then you will find that you'll have you'll really start to gather some momentum with the marketing of your business. And it's really the consistent application of doing that week after week after week after week for the whole, for forever, that really makes it for you. If you're just doing a scattergun approach of just running some ads when you need to, that puts a band-aid on the problem at the stage. It's going to cost you a lot more money. It's going to take you a lot more time, and it's not going to be anywhere near as effective as having a marketing program that is a consistent part of your business. So being visible, having a CRM, and sort of having some strategies to communicate with people on a regular basis in a non-salesy way is really your key to growing business, particularly in these times. So people are used to jumping on their phones, hopping on their computers, watching videos, and even meeting by Zoom. Who'd have thought 2 years ago that this would be a common way of doing business? People consult like this now. They don't go into people's offices and they don't go to people's houses. So this is a new norm. It's not going to change. So people are now used to this. They're doing their grocery shopping online and having it delivered. For me, I love it because I don't have to leave the house to go and walk through a supermarket full of people and go and buy stuff that I would never consider buying because I just happen to walk past it. So and so people are doing that as their primary means of doing things. So it's not going to end. So even if we get out of this pandemic time and life goes back to whatever's normal after that, people are still going to be doing this sort of stuff online. So the people that are going to be successful, certainly during 2022, are people that embrace this, online marketing, the online way of doing things, and really grow exponentially with it. And the thing with it, just like the lady in the yoga studio, is you never know where that might lead. And so she didn't realize that she was going to have an income stream that was going to replace her ordinary income that she was going to be able to use and never have to work again. So she's got a membership site that she doesn't have to work. So she's replaced the old method with a new method. She works less, makes more, and is a lot more fulfilled, which for her is great because she's in her mid-60s, sort of heading into retirement. Now she's got a retirement income, which she didn't have before. So that's about all I've got for you today. If that's helpful, I'm happy to take any questions or comments or commentary, or even, if you have something to ask, how would it work in your business?
Thank you, Nick. That was fabulous. I probably should have listened to all this before I went out to the businesses to get them along today, shouldn't I?
Yeah. It's never too late, is it, eh?
I do the checking in emails. That's one of the things that I do try and do to make sure that people, certain sectors are okay and whatever. So I have been doing that. So I've got a little tick against that one. But yes, thank you very much. That's very interesting. Now, I think Jennifer has a question. Jennifer, did you want to start the ball rolling?
Thanks. So I am a cake baker and decorator, and I love things like TikTok and Instagram where I can scroll and watch videos. I personally don't do them myself, but it is something that I have been looking at doing, whether they just, show, what I'm doing as I'm doing it, and then because I also sell cake decorating supplies from my shop, and then using those things and sort of doing that Bunnings method, I guess, where I can list the things in my shop. with starting something like that, would you recommend having like multiple videos to start with, so that when people do go to your YouTube channel or website or Facebook page, where they see that you've actually got lots of stuff already set up? Because I was sort of thinking, like, if you've only got one when you first start, people are going to be like, oh, you know, this person doesn't really do anything. You know?
Yeah. Well, just get rid of that thought out of your mind now. So that's like, I'm not good enough, imposter syndrome sort of stuff there. Load up your first video. Because what will happen is if you'll keep loading up videos. Everyone starts with one video. Just keep loading them up, and you know, you're not going to get momentum from the first video, but you might get momentum from, say, you know, video 10, 11, or 12 that they start to come back and see. And so if you're regularly uploading, Google wants regular content, and they want to see that you're sort of consistently doing something, and that's far better to do that there. And so Google can see that your channel is growing or you're consistently publishing, rather than putting everything up all at once as one video. So you know, that hasn't got the same sort of impact. The other reason why that's important too is that when you're creating content on your website, like your videos you put up become blogs. So create them as blog posts, and you know, if you can schedule them out, say, let's say once a week, again, that also kicks the algorithm in to say, hey, look, this person's publishing on their website once a week. There's regular content going on it. It's obviously an active site, and that's just one of the signals that really triggers you know, Google search engine to say, let's just push this one a little bit further. Whereas if you dump it all on at once and then they don't see anything, you know, for 6 months, it's like, this is not an active site, so we're not sure how relevant this is to people's questions. So so Google's one word that encapsulates what it is relevance. So and that's what it delivers, is relevance. So when people are searching, they're actually asking questions. So Google's a question engine, not a search engine. So people are asking questions, and what Google wants to do is serve up the most relevant response to that question, or the most relevant answer. And its ideal is that the person clicks on the #1 listing in Google and gets their question answered. And so they don't want them to go to #2 or #3 or #4, because then, you know, people can't find the answer quickly. Then they might go to another search engine like Bing or whatever. So their model is to keep you on their website, because they make money by advertising. If they can keep you on their website, then and you get and you know that that's where people get their answers, then they're more likely to retain them. So yeah, so just start. Upload them. Don't worry if it's not perfect. You can always go and replace the video later on or delete it. It doesn't matter. But you're going to be more active. The fact that you're in cake decorating is awesome. I've got a, how old is she now? My daughter's best friend she was 16 when she started cake decorating. She used to make these fancy cakes with, you know, it looked like a minion and, you know, sort of all sorts of stuff. Didn't look like cake. It looked like a plastic thing, but they were fabulous. She had a mum who was active on social media, and her mum used to sort of do posts for her daughter on these cakes. She could not keep up with her orders. So after she started to do that, you know, and post these cakes, could not keep up with the orders. So by you just posting that sort of stuff, you'll be so busy, you're going to have to go and hire people to help you to keep up with them. And one thing you might want to consider with your videos is time-lapse photography. So and so you can do that with you know, on TikTok and on social media, and people just love seeing things just happen really quickly. You know, you've got the start product and then you've got the finished product with a cake, and so the video only needs to be sort of like 30 seconds to a minute long in time-lapse photography. I reckon that one there would be a real winner for you, and you can do that on your phone as well.
Oh, thank you.
Has anybody else got any questions? On Trudy?
I do. Hi, Nick. I make jewellery, and my process is actually quite simple. Should I be showing people how I do it with the old Kiwi DIY kind of mentality?
What's your reason for asking? What are you thinking if you do show them?
Well, I guess some people will just go and try it themselves. Yeah, and not buy.
Yeah. So the funny thing about it is, is that you can show everybody a step-by-step process of exactly how you do things, and some people will go out and do it themselves. But those people are always going to go out and do it themselves. They're never going to buy from you anyway, because they're wanting to work out how to do it. But there are other people there that will look at your step-by-step process. They'll be absolutely fascinated by it. And they'll say, I must go and get some jewelry from Trudy. I love her stuff. And so even though you've shown them how to do it themselves, they don't want to do it themselves. They actually just want the end product and the finished product. And so we're in a world now of there's no such thing as delayed gratification. People want things right now. We've got the TikTok generation growing up as well that wants things even more immediate than immediately. And so, because people just don't have that patience, it's a great thing to do. From your perspective, it's a really good thing to do too, because you're not only going to be showing how to make jewelry, but you're going to be talking about some of the stones and the rocks and things that you use, what they mean, and then you can bring in stories from all over the world about what these articles mean in, say, different cultures and different places, for different ceremonies, for whatever it is as well too. So probably the people that are most concerned about this are people in the information industry. Like I'm in the information industry. I show people how to grow their businesses digitally. And so people think, if I go and make a video about exactly how to or let's say sort of create a YouTube channel and create videos for it, no one's going to buy my program on how to craft a good, how to use YouTube in your marketing. But nothing could be further from the truth. The more information you give out on how to do things, the more that people are going to enroll in what you've got and buy what you've got, because people naturally think, well, if this is what they've shown me, what else is there? There might not be anything else. You might have given it all away, but they still think, what else is there? And it's not the fact that you know what to do and have shown them. Often what people need is someone to help them in the implementation of it. So people always get stuck in the implementation. And I'm sure with your jewelry as well too, that there are some little shortcuts and things that you do that you've learned over years that people have got no clues about, but you've learned it through experience. That's where people really get stuck. So even if people go and attempt it themselves, you'll probably find some of those will end up as customers, because they'll get frustrated and think, oh, I give up. I'm not going to do this.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Has anyone else got any questions? Anne?
No, I just want to say thanks to Nik actually for taking the time. It's been absolutely useful, and it's many of the businesses here in Tawa could actually benefit for this. So the recording will go a long way, and really appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your expertise. So thanks for taking the time, Nik.
No, that's a pleasure. That's just really scratched the surface as well too. So the important thing is really the implementation and the clarity. So what often happens is that there are so many things that you can do. It's difficult to choose which one. So last night I ran a webinar on 27 organic lead generating ideas. So these are things that I've used or currently use. They're organic, so they're free, but there's 27 of them. The hardest thing out of that for people is to choose which one. They're all good, which one? And that's really where I help people, is just to grab one. Let's create a strategy and a process around it all. Let's go and implement it. Find out, what did we learn and all that? What could we do better? What, or do we ditch this one and do something else? And it's really doing that so that you consistently build up a process in your business to, help with your, particularly from my side of things, your marketing to grow your business. And that's really where people get stuck. So so it really is choosing one thing and finish it. And it is you've probably met people like this. I'm sure there's no one on here that's like this at all, but you sort of, you've got about 6 projects on the go because you've had an idea, and then another one comes on and think, oh, that's a really good idea, and you start it. So you start 6 or 7 things, and how many do you finish? None of them. And so so you don't get paid for things that are not finished. So rather than doing that, it's better to focus on grabbing one thing, work it right through to completion, launch it and finish it, and then start your next thing. In that same period of time, you can complete 6 things and have them working than you would if you started all 6 at once. So it's just a mind game sort of thing.
Nick, I was just sorry, with your Tuesday evening seminars, I have been to quite a few because I get your emails.
Yes.
And I mean, I might not go to everyone, but I do actually know that they're on that same time every week. And that was a really valid piece of information about doing certain things on a certain time of the, so people can jump in. And I don't come and listen to all of your seminars, but I do see what they are first. And then if I want to, I jump on. So I think that was a really valid point.
And really the fact is that you know they're on, you know me. And it's just consistent all the time, just showing up, and that's really the purpose of it as well. We probably get maybe half of the people, or sometimes less than half of the people, have been before, and then we get sort of half of them that are brand new or that haven't been there. We get people that watch it on YouTube because we upload them to YouTube afterwards. We get people that watch it on Facebook, so we're streaming it live to Facebook, so it's going across a number of channels, and then we put the videos into a membership site as well too, and people will pay to have them even though they're up on YouTube. So even though you give stuff away, it doesn't mean that people aren't going to pay for it as well too.
That's really interesting. It's really cool. Right, last, I know we're running over time a little bit, so
I've just dropped the link to the Tuesday night webinar into chat as well. So you're welcome. Anyone's welcome to come along, grab the link, jot it down, or whatever. Welcome to come along anytime. If you register and you can't make it, don't worry about it. Once you register, you'll get a notification of all the other ones that come up each Tuesday too. So more than welcome to come along. Fantastic.
Thank you, Nick. So thanks, Nick, for coming along today. It's been fantastic. I've picked up quite a few tips myself. As we say, we've recorded the session, so I will put it up on our members page so that other members can see it. But yes, so thanks guys for turning up today, and thanks Nick for giving such a fantastic presentation. Thank you guys. Take care. We'll catch up again soon.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.